I know. I can project, but this is much better. The affirmation for today is I embrace a new era for myself and for our community. And if you'll join me now in a moment of prayer. Divine Spirit, we are grateful for the blessings you provide for all of us, and especially for our youth and family ministry. We thank you for helping to keep us centered in peace and love in the face of change, which happens everywhere in our individual lives, in our community, and happening especially in war-torn parts of the world. And if we can center ourselves in that peace and love, we are more able to send that out to those who could really, really use those vibrations and that support at this time. We're grateful for the blessings of our everyday lives, things that we have physically, spiritually, emotionally, that we sometimes take for granted. But in times like this, when we're watching others go through such struggle and change, it makes us aware of blessings large and small that we do have in our lives, and that we can share with others when possible. Thank you, Divine Spirit, for your love and your blessings, and for this beautiful community and the way that we are able to come together, both physically and virtually, each week to unite and share our love. Thank you. So be it. Amen. Well, welcome to Unity of Mesa, where we enlighten, empower, and energize one another to uplift our world through a greater expression of God. I'm Candee Lewis, your speaker today, and Bob Baker is on platform. Julie Treglon is leading today's mini lesson with our youth. Karen Pfeiffer is our board member of the day, and the wonderful Kirsten Plambeck is our musician for today. She's a delight, and you'll just really enjoy the music she's providing this morning. Now, today is the first Sunday of April. Any April birthdays out there? Aha! If you were born this month, please stand, even those at home, and tell us in the comments so we may honor you with the birthday song. We have 1, 2, 3. Oh, good, we've got a few. All right, well, you know what we're about to do. Everyone join in with the birthday song. Happy birthday to you. There's no one like you, uniquely created. I love knowing you. I bless you with life and abundance galore. God bless you, my loved ones, and have many more. And now it's time for our mini lesson.
Good morning, everybody, to those here. Good morning, and those at home. So welcome to our little mini lesson. So any young people in our congregation today, please come up here on the platform with us. Just have a seat wherever you can find a spot that you like. I'm going to sit down here. So welcome, we've got Charlotte, Olivia, Hayden, and Cole. I wanted to have a bit of a daydream today. Who likes to daydream? Oh yeah, we've got a couple that love to daydream. What about to imagine? Yep, it's pretty good to imagine. So this is for you guys and any in the congregation who'd like to join in. You can close your eyes if you like, because I'm going to take you on a little daydream. Okay? You ready? So I want you to imagine it's Saturday morning. You wake up, you're in your bed, and you've had the best sleep ever. You feel great. You see the sun peeking in through the blinds or through the drapes. And then you remember, today is your day to do whatever you like. No one is going to stop you. In fact, they're going to help you to create your best day ever. What will you start with? What do you think you'll have for breakfast? I'm going to ask you later, by the way. Right now, just imagine you've got your best breakfast ever being served to you. And it can be served to you wherever you want, by the way. It doesn't have to be at home. What do you see on your plate, in your cup? What do you see around you? How does it taste? Is it so delicious? I bet you can't help smiling as you think about it. And you are feeling good from the inside out. So what's next? What's your absolute favorite thing to do? Are you going to be active or quiet? Who are you with? By yourself, with your friends, your family? You get to choose. What are you going to do? Do you want to make something? Play a sport? Do some music? It can be anything you like. You can be at home, you can be somewhere else, anywhere in the whole wide world, because this is your daydream. See yourself doing what you enjoy the most. You feel alive and you are glowing from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. The time goes by really fast, but at the end of the day, you feel so relaxed and you feel so happy because you've done what you wanted to do today. Okay, now we get to come back. All right, so who wants to tell me what they had for breakfast? Haven.
What I had for breakfast in my daydream is I had waffles and pancakes with syrup with cream and
Cherry on top. Did you all hear that? Waffles, syrup, whipped cream, cherry on top. Oh, pancakes too. Pancakes too. Okay. Anyone else want to share what their favourite breakfast was in their daydream? What did you do? Haven.
I played at the playground and I also learned how to do something in the air.
You worked out how to do a prop up in the air? A front flip in the air. That's cool. I want to see that. Okay. So you had I know, but it's your daydream, you see, so you can do whatever you want. I'm so glad you did that in your daydream. Okay. So at the end, when I was going through that daydream with you, how did you feel? Hey, you can say.
I felt happy and joyful and tired.
Happy, joyful, and a bit tired. Anyone else, as well as Haven, would like to share? I won't say your names, but if you want to just call it out, that's cool. Or not, it's your choice. Okay. So what... Thank you, Haven. So what I want you to get from that, apart from whatever you want, is that it's fun to imagine and daydream. And right now, you probably know that we're getting some new ministers coming along to our church. And I bet that a lot of us, including our new ministers, have been doing some daydreaming and visualizing, and that's led to some planning and no doubt to some great things that will be happening for all of us. So it all starts with a daydream. It starts with an imagination, okay? Just what you guys did. Now, yesterday, you've probably heard about this. Our youth and some of our adults participated in a service project. It was held up at the state capitol, and it was packing food items into bags for our homeless people in our community. There were a lot of people there, there was a lot of cultural events, and I'm just so thrilled that these guys turned up, and we had a really great time. I wish I could tell you how many we packed, but it was a lot. A lot of food was prepared, and it was wonderful. 120 boxes. Yeah, I don't know how many packs we did in the end, but it was a really lot. It was a great day. And up on the screen, you can see some of our youth there, busy at work, and some of them also wrote little messages that could go into those packs to help lift the spirits of those who will be receiving. So let's take a moment to send love with those messages. In fact, one of the little messages was, keep dreaming your dreams, right? We all need that message. So thank you to everybody. Haven is going to stand up now. She has a little announcement about that.
Yesterday, I helped homeless people by packing food for them. It made me very happy that I helped them. Thanks to everyone who came to help and for all the donations of food.
Thank you, Haven, and thanks everybody. So we now have a song with Miss Kirsten, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Reeds drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and I'm feeling good. A fish in the sea, you know how I feel. Rivers are running free, you know how I feel. Blossom in the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun,
Good morning. Another busy month here at Unity of Mesa. Here are a few things you should know. We open Holy Week with Palm Sunday next Sunday with Reverend Dr. Nikki Golden and some special guests. Service starts at our usual 10:15. April 14th at 7 p.m. is Maundy Thursday. We will commemorate the Last Supper of Jesus and the Apostles with a foot washing ceremony and communion service, community style, with Reverends Mindy and Nikki. Then, on Easter Sunday, we will have our traditional sunrise service at 6:45. This is a beautiful service outside in the garden. At 10:15, we'll hold our intergenerational Easter service. That service will be followed by an Easter egg hunt for the children in the garden. A special guest may even hop in. April also brings us Earth Day, and our youth ministry is once again hosting an intergenerational event to celebrate on April 24th, Eating for the Planet. Join Amy Beck and Lori Matlock for this sustainable eating and living workshop, fun repurpose project, and vegan lunch. Watch your email and our website for more details and registration coming soon. You can find details, dates, times, and more for all of our events on our Things for You to Know page at unityofmesa.org. Thank you for sharing your love and light with us this morning. Please know that your soul is welcome here. And now, let's share our guiding statement to remind us of why we come together. Say this with me. We are here to experience more of the fullness of who we truly are, and in order to transform the world, all are welcome here. Now, let us prepare ourselves for meditation.
If you all get comfortable in your seats and remove anything from your laps, and I always say for those of you at home, unless it's a beloved pet, and relax your hands and imagine a beautiful white light of peace and love above you. It's flowing gently down over your head, down over your face, through your neck and your shoulders, relaxing you as it travels slowly down your body, down your chest, your arms, into your hands, down into your legs, and all the way down to your feet, grounding you to the earth so you are connected to the earth and the cosmos. And as you settle in, say to yourself, I embrace a new era for myself and for our community. We know that life is full of change, some planned, some unexpected. And although it sometimes seems as if the worst has happened, we know that Spirit does have it under control, and that we can shift our perspective and look for the lesson and even the good in the face of our fear or disappointment. We can find faith and sometimes even joy in times of change. And we can use the example in our own lives of how our church as a community turned a journey of change into an exciting new adventure. The daily word from March 29th tells us that life is made rich by an adventurous attitude. Looking back on my life, I see myself having traveled many paths, some short and direct, others long and winding. Some were easy and others more challenging. No matter the path, the journey was always made richer when I thought of it as an adventure. My adventurous attitude has kept me curious, eager to explore and try new things. Open to learning and experimentation, I'm never bored or stuck in a rut because my attitude is one of discovery and novelty. As we move into silent meditation, remember, as the rest of that daily word tells us, as a divine being, creativity is the very nature of my life. Divine guidance is mine at all times. My adventurous spirit draws me closer to God and keeps me excited and eager, ready to walk down the next new path. Slowly bring your attention back to the room, gently moving your hands and your feet, shaking your arms a little bit, bringing your awareness back. And as you do come back into the space where you're seated, remember that life is made rich by an adventurous spirit. And we take a moment to apologize. We had some interruptions with our live stream for those of you watching at home or from other places, but we're back in business now from what I understand. So thank you for your patience with that. Right.
This small stretch of sky is my horizon, the extent of all my hopes and dreams. Yet I yearn to go beyond perception and see inside some other lives unfolding. So I stretch my eyes above the rooftops, encircling the world with circumstance. I see a sea of faces, each is so significant, a multitude of hopes and dreams unfolding. Open my eyes, open my heart, open these hands that hold us apart. Open up a way for me to see the grandeur of the grander scheme unfolding. So I stretch my mind to try to understand how you hold each soul inside your plan. Oh, Father, grant me faith to see my part in history, touching others with your love unfolding. Open my eyes, open my heart, open these hands that hold us apart. Open up a way for me to see the grandeur of the grander scheme unfolding. Oh, the grandeur of the grander scheme unfolding. Oh, the grandeur of the grander scheme unfolding.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. That was wonderful. Thank you. Well, once again, good morning. And it seems I have the pleasure of being the last guest speaker before our new ministers arrive. Woohoo! When Reverend Judy asked me if I wanted to speak again, she said that this was the dawning of a new era for us. And you have to know the song that immediately came into my head. I can't help myself. This is the dawning of the age of new ministers, the age of new ministers, Reverend Nikki and Mindy. Oh, thank you for bearing with me. You had no choice. Today we're exploring the themes of finding faith and joy in times of change and embracing a new era for ourselves and our community. And there's actually a beautiful symbiotic relationship here. Our church has incredible abundance consciousness. This has grown from the contributions and beliefs of members who also have that kind of beautiful and powerful abundance consciousness. And in turn was when we as individuals find ourselves faltering in fear or doubt in the face of change, we can look to the example of what we as a group have created here and know that we can create the same for ourselves as individuals. It's obvious to me that many of our members already have. A few weeks ago, Reverend Eliza Bloom spoke to us about abundance and mentioned that during COVID, many churches were filled with fear about where their money would come from. Would they stay open? I was so happy. Our board president, Arn, before giving his report, reminded us all that we are a church based in faith, not fear. Reverend Judy told me that during COVID, many other Unity churches closed. We not only found ways to remain open, we did things like, as Erica told us last week, meet our $300,000 Creating Tomorrow goal. And in the face of having our two beloved ministers, Kathy and Judy, retiring, which meant we needed to fill a ministerial position, we put our heads and hearts together, and with the help of an amazing board of directors and staff, manifested not one, but two exciting new ministers who wanted to share position. I remember at one point during our focus group in which we discussed who we were as a church and what we wanted from a new minister, someone, again, I believe it was Arn, it sounds like something he would say, said, "Aside from walking on water, what do we want from the new minister?" We weren't asking for much. All joking aside, we formed a vision of what we wanted and how we wanted them to be. And I'd say we did a pretty good job of manifesting just that. And on their end, I believe Reverend Nikki and Reverend Mindy were working with the same principles and found a match in us as well. Let us continue to allow this to permeate our personal lives as well. It's a reminder that I need on a daily basis. I remember a conversation I had with Pam Swicegood. Some of you may remember her here several years ago about her daughter, Jen. She said Jen grew up in Unity principles and really didn't know any different. Jen embraced the ways of manifestation and belief and was continually off and running. And I watched her do this over and over. And I remember feeling so envious. Not having grown up with that kind of awareness, I more often got blocked and embraced something I'd picked up as a child, to be seen and not heard. Not intentionally done by anybody, but my interpretation, to kind of hide myself, which gave me the appearance of being shy. I tended to perform and talk a lot, especially at home. As many of you know from what you've seen me share here, that is definitely not who and how I came to this earth to be. I have to remember that I came to do things like write and speak and lead, and most of all, create laughter, and not to embrace, be seen, and not heard. I've gotten a lot better at it, and thank you all for helping me with that. So many times in my life, I built a house of fear. Now, especially when it came to change, even when I'd created it, which I do a lot in my life. This is the first time I named it that, a house of fear. Not some amorphous, scary shape hanging over and around me, but an enclosed space that I could choose to walk into or out of, being sure to close the door behind me. I could even do some saging in there, clear the energy out. We need to be careful of and aware of what we are embracing, especially in the face of change. I love the song selections from Kirsten today. I'd never heard of the Gray or their song Unfolding. I love the bridge that tells us, open my eyes, open my heart, open these hands that hold us apart. Open up a way for me to see the grandeur of the grander scheme unfolding. The song is speaking of us learning to see and understand the world and others around us, but that section also spoke to me about dealing with fear and worry, which can be a tricky thing to do when you're in the middle of what we think of as a storm. Thank you, Kirsten. I recently discovered Jerusha Agan's Fear Warrior blog, Fighting Against Fear in Our Everyday Lives. That spoke to me. At the top of her blog, under her name, it says, fear, period, love, period, hope, period, repeat. Kind of a simplified version of today's talk. A recent February 7th entry by her friend Jane Trump is entitled, Expecting the Worst, How to Beat Your Fear of the Future. In it, she shares that after a time of a year of great trauma for each of their 4 family members, serious stuff, 4 years later, you'd think I would be okay. But here's the thing. Now I know what can happen. And that knowledge has me watching for storms when there isn't a cloud in the sky. It has me preparing for the worst when something else is much more likely. As God has pried my fingers off the proverbial bailing bucket, he's asked me to stop expecting the worst and instead ask, what's the most likely scenario? Looking for the most likely helps stop the panic over every tiny cloud in the sky. It helps me live a bit more in the moment, to see the places where others will step in to help, where God has the long term under control. And if the worst comes, there's something I know to be true. We don't have control over it. It doesn't matter how prepared we are, life will not go the way we expect. It's in those moments where the boat deck tips unexpectedly that I'm learning to trust, to choose to be still and know that God ultimately has it under control. The daily word entry for March 29th suggests that life is made rich by an adventure. I don't know about you, but I love that thought. And knowing that there is always a new dawn, a new day. It's funny, but when I was pulling out what I would wear today, I always kind of do it in advance, especially for something like this. One less thing to stress over in the morning. I noticed a tag in the blouse that said, "A new day." I'd never noticed it before. Along with reading the daily word in the morning, I love to read daily selections from Science of Mind's Guide for Spiritual Living. As many of you are aware, their beliefs, those of Unity, are very similar. A different person writes each month's pages. And this month, the author is Reverend Joanne McFadden. She says, as a second-generation Science of Mind minister, I learned a great deal about teaching and preaching from my father. He always taught by illustration because he knew people would remember the stories. Something I think you know I totally agree with. We can hear all kinds of things, but until we relate them to an actual experience, they take on a meaning and an example. The page for today is entitled A New Direction, and they always start with two quotes, the second being from Ernest Holmes. So let's see. We overcome the wrong by turning completely away from the wrong and giving all our life and power to the greater realization of the right. This is the secret of overcoming. Christian Larson. The action of the law never changes, but the direction of the action is always up to us. And that was Ernest Holmes. Melinda Roy left her Louisiana home at age 12 to study ballet in New York City. 5 years later, she became a member of the famed New York City Ballet, NYCB, and worked her way up the ranks to principal dancer, wowing audiences all over the world with her strength and grace. One night during a performance at Lincoln Center, the unthinkable happened. When she was dancing, she heard a snap and could not feel her leg. She limped off the stage. Roy had torn her ACL so severely that despite several reconstructive surgeries, she could not dance the way she once had. A devastating loss for the then 35-year-old who spent 10 hours a day on stage rehearsing and performing. She left the NYCB. After months of grieving and dealing with the fear born of the uncertainty of what would come next, she made a shift. She turned her fear into exhilaration, an attitude that unleashed myriad opportunities for her as a Tony-nominated Broadway choreographer, a teacher, and founder of her own ballet company. She even had time for romance. Life does not always unfold as we plan. When we cling to how we think our lives should be, we block new possibilities, ones that might never have been explored. Spirit stands ready to unleash its infinite storehouse of possibilities to us when we are open to them. And there's always an affirmation, I'll share that too. When things do not go as I planned, I turn in a new direction with a sense of exhilaration, opening myself to the unlimited possibilities of the divine mind. A pretty powerful life story. And now for some further adventures in the life of Candee. And these are nowhere as, what should I say, severe or dramatic as that. The last time I spoke, I addressed the scarcity issue that plagued me for most of my life. Well, it's been a new year. And although from the outside looking in, some things that occurred in my home starting in January did not look so good, I'm happy to share that the outcomes involved the result of a shift in abundance consciousness for me. Pretty major. I've been using a mantra that says, I am grateful for passive income and unexpected income along with earned income. It's one that's really been helping me. And after doing a lot of whining about the kind of work I'd like to find, I told myself, just put it out there, that you really want work that you enjoy, part-time work, and believe in, and that uses your natural gifts and abilities. Stop whining. use the things you've been learning for years. So, at the very beginning of the year, my 20-year-old AC heating unit died, right in the middle of our coldest spell in the winter. I know people in other states will laugh at me for that, but it still feels cold to us. I started to panic, even though I told myself to remember that my credit union helped me 20 years ago when this happened. In speaking to my cousin in California, who grew up an only child with my older sister and I, two sisters for her, when she heard this, she said, "I want to pay for it." What? She inherited a lot from her father, my uncle, and never felt like it was really hers. So she uses it to help friends and or a relative in need. She said, "Think of it as a gift from your aunt and uncle." And she sent some extra funding as well. Major wow. My beloved friend / client, the one who purchased a new kitchen range for me last year, said, "I'm buying you a dishwasher for Christmas this year." And as a side note, the prolonged delivery and installation of the aforementioned dishwasher, which finally occurred 3 months after its initial purchase, taught me how a very frustrating situation can contain a pearl, or in this case, two. I won't go into the details of each step which caused the delay, but I will tell you that at one point I said to myself, okay, this is a wonderful thing she's doing for you. What is causing these delays? Okay, I said, well, what have my thoughts been? And I realized that I'd been thinking, I don't need a new dishwasher. My old one is still working. Ooh. So, catching that, I shifted right away to being grateful for this beautiful new item. And I shifted back again to being grateful. The second pearl, my brother, who I don't see very often, who lays tile for a living, made 2 visits during this adventure. The first to help remove the old dishwasher, which the first installer had said could not be done without removing tile. I thought, oh, good Lord. And then that was one of the extended waits while my brother had time to come over. And once he arrived, pulled the dishwasher out in 5 minutes. And the second time he came, it was to actually install the dishwasher, because 2 or 3 people hadn't been able to do. He removed 1 piece of wood in the way, and boom, in it went. Now, during those visits, again, we don't see each other very often, and we don't usually have deep discussions, but we shared some insights on family communication and relationships that cleared up a lifetime of misconceptions. I said, okay, all right, I understand now. I understand why this all happened. And by the way, I have a lovely new dishwasher. I've joined the new world. I think the other one was from the 1970s when the home was built. So yeah, they do amazing things, don't they? Okay, when my beloved all creatures great and small cat, who knows and visits everyone in the neighborhood around us on our townhome property, had to go to an emergency hospital because he'd gotten a serious infection from an unseen bite on his tail, the bill was a little over $800. My younger sister had been texting with me as I waited outside in my car. She asked how much it was going to cost. They'd given an estimate of $700. A little while later, I got a text from the Zelle app. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's an app people can use to pay each other for various things, with the money going straight to your bank account. This message said, "Melanie Lewis has just sent you $500. She told me, the universe told me to do it." She might as well be attending Unity with us. And a few minutes later, Zelle told me an additional $200 had been deposited. My stepmother also wanted to help. Of course, I cried more tears of gratitude. In my pet sitting had slowed considerably, and I'd been using an online app to look for other part-time jobs that would interest me and make use of my natural gifts and abilities. I'd started to fill out an application for Once Upon a Time photography, thinking it was for an assistant, but I stopped when I realized they were looking for actual photographers who had their own cameras and their own equipment. To my surprise, I got a phone call from the man who created the company and who'd seen my resume and was interested in me because of my film school and performing background. Now, he was also looking for a people person, as they took team photos on Saturdays all over the state and needed people who could make others feel comfortable. And as he spoke to me, he said, "Oh, I can tell you that's you." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I can do that." And they would train me if I was interested in the position. Now, this was not an exact fit for me, but it was exciting to have a company with energy that I found to be good show interest in me and to shake up some new energy. In the meantime, pet sitting picked up again for a few weeks. And friends and family had been telling me for a while I needed to have some fun again. I agreed, but I was steeped in the old, I don't know how anymore. Of course, COVID didn't help me too much with that. Some people managed to do it, and I blocked myself off even more. So I auditioned for a small black box comedy at the college, telling the director with whom I'd worked before that I was feeling brain dead from COVID and worried about memorizing and remembering lines anymore. She said to all of us once we got there, "You're already cast." I was like, "Wait a minute, what happened to letting me think about it?" After the audition, she told me I was already memorizing lines in the audition. I said, no, I'm just good at looking from the page to people. She said, "No, you had the lines memorized." And when I said I would do it, she proceeded to cast me in 2 good-sized roles. Prayers for me in the coming month, please. And most recently, a company named Sophia Day's MVP Kids placed an ad on our college theater site for very part-time puppeteers who would be filmed using some of their 16 hand puppet characters. After seeing my resume, which included 7 years of working with the Great Arizona Puppets Company and an associate's degree in film production, unbeknownst to me, I was in before they even met me. I kept saying to the woman when we were emailing, "I'm older." Wasn't willing to say how much older. Eventually, she said in one email, "I'm older too. It's okay." And when I went, it was amazing. Their company's values and approach are very in keeping with mine. And I've been discovering that they treat their employees with grace and loving care. When I worked at the puppet company, the last thing on anyone's mind was the comfort of the puppeteers. I mean, we were doing things where we were down behind the screen, crawling on the floor, and when they brought us into the room at this company where we would be performing on the stage, they asked us things like, "What would be most comfortable for you? Would you like chairs to sit on? Would you like rolling chairs?" And then I get an email the next day, "Oh, we're working on some more things, including a shelf for you to rest your elbow on while you're holding the puppets." I thought, okay, what a blessing all the way around. A series of some life-changing events from which I not only manifested passive and unexpected income, but which have been helping me learn to accept, another major one for me, that I am worthy of all of this. We all are worthy of these kinds of things. In a recent discussion, one of our Sangha members, Bill, said that change is opportunity. And he and Anne both said life is impermanence, but our essence is permanent. I think it can be helpful if we can remember this as we walk through the ups and downs of our lives. During that same discussion, another member, who you all know and love, Steve, said that what we really want is a day full of surprises, not boredom. Of course, we all hope for what we think of as good surprises. And it helps if we do our best to remember, while facing change, even when we fear it, that it is possible to find faith and joy, and that life is made rich by an adventurous attitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Candee. I'm all for adventure. So I'm Karen Piper. I'm the board member of the day, and I have 2 short announcements. One is the board is with you, in case you didn't know. Please reach out to the board members with a question or a concern as we transition this year. we're here. We're here to help. If you have any questions. The second announcement is Jean Bettis, who is our treasurer on the board, has made the decision to resign from the Board of Trustees and her other volunteer positions at the church effective April 1st due to health challenges. She wanted to express that she's been honored to serve on the board as your representative, and she loves all of you and Unity of Mesa. Her desire is to see Unity of Mesa continue to grow and flourish, and she's grateful for all the ways that she's contributed to that growth through her volunteer opportunities. We will hold her in her prayers as she transitions into this new phase. So we are the change agents of our world. Through our prayers, affirmations, being in the light, as Candee so eloquently expressed, and giving from our abundance. We, as a spiritual community, are committed to self-discovery and spiritual growth, and we support the work of the greater good as we enlighten, empower, and energize one another to uplift our world to the greater expression of God. We no longer pass the offering bags, but we do have ways for you to contribute to the church. And one is the little red buckets. They're here, they're in the back. I think they're at every exit for donations for today. We also can visit our Give Online, our website using the Vanco app and drop off our, wait a minute. I wanted to tell you about Amazon Smile, which is also a way of giving. Because Amazon Smile sent me a message. It's like when Google says, "Happy birthday, Karen." It's like, whoa, they know who I am. So Amazon Smile told me that I donated around $82 last year. I thought, well, that's cool. They told me that, and to the Unity of Mesa. And the total for those who have signed up was $1,150. So if you use Amazon, sign up for Amazon Smile that does the charitable giving, and make sure that you put down Unity of East Mesa. We also have Fry's Rewards as a way to give, or just checks or whatever. So we're very grateful for all that has happened, all that we've been able to all of the givers who have donated funds to help support us this year. It's kept us going, which is like amazing. So I want to put your gifts in your hands and hold them close to your hearts or in your mind. And we consecrate these gifts to the greatest expression of spirit through the work of this ministry. And if you'll say together the blessing. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. So grateful for all of you. Thank you.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Someday we'll get it together and we'll get it all done. Someday when your head is much lighter. Someday, yeah, we'll walk in the rays of the beautiful sun. Someday when the world is much brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Oh, child, things will get brighter. Oh, child, things are gonna get easier. Oh, child, things will get brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll get it together and we'll get it all done. Someday when your head is much lighter. Someday, yeah, we'll walk in the rays of the beautiful sun. Someday when the world is much brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now.
Join us in the garden for hospitality. Chaplains are available for one-on-one prayer and can be identified by their blue and white stoles. And if you'll stand. Thank you. You can meet here or in the garden. And lastly, Reverends Mindy and Nikki, if you're listening, please turn off the sound now. We want to give our ministers a warm welcome. They'll be here next Sunday. They have not lived in the desert and could benefit from some helpful tips on living here when it gets over 110 degrees, or how to handle the monsoon season. So, at the table in the back and in the garden, we have some note cards where you can write down some tips and tricks on how to survive the heat in the summer, or just a welcoming note. We will share all the cards with them next Sunday. And now, let us close with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.